I received a telephone call from the mortuary officer out at the Walker Air Force Base, Army Airfield Base. And he was inquiring about what would be the smallest possible casket that we could get that would be hermetically sealed. And he said, I need to ask you some more questions. He said, in case something like this should happen, he said, we need to know what the preparation, what your preparations are for the bodies that had been laying out in the elements, you know. And he said, we need to know also what if your treatments of the bodies are the remains, what could you do to them, and if your treatments, would it change any of the chemical breakdown of the tissues, the blood? Would it make a difference? And I said, I thought probably it would. And I said, of course, he knew exactly how we would treat those bodies because we have an outline from them and what we really have to do. Because and they wanted, you know, how would you pick bodies up like that, and what would you do not to contaminate any of it?
Didn't this begin to seem a little strange to you at that point? So, after these conversations, you were curious, and you went on out to the base, as I understand it.
Yeah, I was curious, but I didn't go out to the base, and probably a couple hours later, then I'd got an emergency call, and I took the airman to the base. He rode in the ambulance with me, and I took him out to the emergency room, and that's the way I became really involved out at the base. I didn't go out just because I was curious.
Now, as you were entering the hospital, you saw something in 3 trucks.
Yeah, because usually where I parked, there was 3 field ambulances parked in the area where I usually park, where we back up to the ramps. So when I got up, went up the steps and up the ramp, and I was walking, going into the emergency room, I noticed that the doors were open, but what was odd about it, there was an MP standing beside each one of the vehicles in the back, just standing there. And the doors were open. Naturally, I was curious, and I just happened to look in. That's when I saw some debris that looked like parts of a plane or something that they hadn't had a crash.
Can you describe the debris?
Yeah, I noticed in 2 of the ambulances there was some debris that was probably 2.5 to 3 feet, long and probably high, that was propped up on the side of the ambulance there. They were kind of in the shape of maybe like a half a canoe. They were like the front part of a canoe. And it looked like it might be aluminum, but it looked more like the metal looked more like stainless steel that had been heated. It was blue, kind of a bluish tint to it. Now, what was odd about it, it looked like around the curved part in the front of the canoe, there was some designs or something. It kind of reminded me of maybe some Egyptian signs or whatever. And it was probably about 3 inches in high, and probably the length of what the wreckage I saw, it looked like it was the length. And the same thing was in the other ambulance too. I mean, I saw practically the same thing. The pieces that were practically the same size, and the insignias looked like whatever that might be was part of the wreckage.